almost done. We just need to do our displacement, which we already have this pretty much set up. We're going to take the output of our displacement and put it into our merge here. And for our merge, we're going to turn this into color dodge and blend this down a little bit. Let's do screen. And again, we're just going to use a mask. We're going to use our girl mask to mask this cyan energy. So what I'll do is take the output of our girl mask and pipe it into our cyan energy right there, so that this just happens where her body is. And down here in our nodes, I'll hold down Alt just to make a little elbow here. So there is some justice in the world. There we go. So things aren't so willy-nilly. Now we have our mask, which we can probably blur. I'll just drag a blur here, move everything over, select this blur and blur this matte as well. Something like that. Now we have a really cool looking effect here. We just need it to kind of sweep across her. So we're going to do that again with a rectangle mask. Just throw this here, and let's not connect our blurry mask here yet. Let's connect our rectangle mask first. And we're going to have this pretty wide and not very high. We're just going to have this kind of go from top to bottom. Or maybe even, oh boy, maybe even like this. Yeah, we'll start here and keyframe our center. And then by the time we get to 340, we're going to be way down here. Okay, so this will go across her like this, but we're going to limit it with this blurry mask, which you can't actually connect a blur to a rectangle mask. So that's okay. We'll blur this afterwards. We can connect these masks together and we'll go up here. Again, paint mode, let's say subtract inverted. That'll just be where these two masks meet. And then we're going to put our blur right here in between these two. So now we're combining those masks and then we're blurring that matte. So this is what we're doing, is making a blurry matte like this. That's where we're applying our energy, and then we're displacing it like this. So we don't want a big X offset. In fact, let's reset everything here with this displacement. We're going to switch to X and Y. Have both of these in Luma, and we're going to adjust our Y refraction a little bit. Something like that, so that this will kind of go down her body like that. But let's adjust this displacement map. Let's take a look at what's going on there. Maybe we need to scale this a little bit. And maybe make this rectangle not quite as high. Just so it's like a little line goes across. We'll adjust our displace. Get some bigger extra fraction, I think. So now we have this really cool effect. Looks like there's energy that goes across her like this. That works pretty well. Yeah. All right. Last part is the dent, which we'll just run this whole thing through. And we'll go up and reset this here. Let's make our strength 0. And at 340, I want this dent to be working. We want this to not go over the edges of the screen because it'll make black edges kind of come in. Let's see what kind of strength we can do. Let's just push this in just a little bit, like 0.08. That'll be the strongest part. And then we'll have this come back for a couple frames, 0, like that. And then a few frames in. Let's go back to 0. So now this should kind of pinch as it explodes. There we go. Cool. I'm thinking we're going to need to mess with some timing here. So let's go back to the edit page, let this cache for a second, and we'll see what it looks like. Let's take a look. I think that color comes in way too early. That needs to come in like right before all this happens. So like right here. And then what else? Speed for the energy looks good. I think the fading in of this flare still doesn't work. It looks weird. So let's switch that. Let's open up our keyframes here. I'm gonna open this up, play with stuff. Look at this. Told you this was gonna be a hairy one. So right here about 340, let's zoom in. And this is why we name things. It's all of this. In fact, we should name this Sparks Merge. What else we got? Energy Merge. Okay. This glow merge. See, look, this starts way back here. We don't want that. This can start like here, like 325. Everything else is starting like about the same time. Here with this flare, we don't want this to be halfway on for too long. We just want it to kind of flicker a little bit as it goes. So let's see if that helps. So that's just gonna, yeah, I think that's gonna help a lot. All of that. That's cool. All right, let's go back and let that cache. Let's check it out. All right. The only thing I'd say is I think the timing and everything works pretty well, but this cyan glow is just a little intense. So let's turn that down and we'll call it good. Turning it down and calling it good. All right. The cyan glow and this merge. Right here when it's full at 0.78, I think we want to take this down to like 0.3, like half is crazy. We just want this to be pretty subtle. Tasteful. We want tasteful. Yeah, see, that's looking tasty. That's looking a taste master. There's a couple other little things, just really nitpicky things that I would change about this, and it has nothing to do with the disappear. If we look up here in the upper right-hand corner, we can see that when we cut in between those two clips, the reflections change right here. We also have some lighting changing right here. And we have this getting kind of cut off right here too. So that's bad. So let's fix those things real quick and then we are done. Fusion. Let's cut the flare real quick. We'll just bring that up here and we're going to make a ellipse and soften the edges for this mask. So it's really soft so that this flare doesn't get into trouble, you know? We don't want to get into trouble. That's one thing. Get rid of this. No. We got to keep the things that aren't changing here consistent. So I think what we'll do is something just wild like this. Let's take this same freeze frame. This is crazy. So let's move this stuff this way. We'll fix this by merging this freeze frame over everything again. So here's what we're doing. This should just be a freeze frame during this whole thing, but we're only going to do it in the lower left right here. And the upper right. Let's grab another polygon right here. And we're only going to fade these on right before she disappears. So we're gonna have this on about 337 or so. Let's have this blend up and we'll fade it back in for a little bit here. We'll also make this polygon really soft. We want this to be super soft. Soft as it can get, basically. So that we only have, when she disappears, the only thing that disappears is her. And we don't have a difference here in this top. Really that much. And we don't have a difference over here. But beforehand, we still have our guy walking. And that's fine. We're just using a still frame later. Okay, let's see if this works. We also probably don't want the blood this big. Let's find our blood. Grab our blood mask and find our middle keyframe here. And we're just going to take this down a little bit. So we made our blood a little bit smaller. We fixed our problems with our flare and our sides of our shot. Let's look at this whole shot, make sure we are all good. Yeah, much better. So you don't have those big movements down below or up in the light anymore. Flare looks good. Everything looks nice. Our smoke goes out. Yep, I like it. This one, let's hit M, make this green. We are done with VFX for our whole movie. So exciting. I hope you've learned a lot in this section about fusion and compositing and everything. Next, we're going to jump into color correction.